Are y'all ready to get this started? 3, 2, 1. Hey, I know what time it is.
You know what it is.
You are now tuning into the best business radio program in Central VA.
Turn it up.
On the Mic with Mike.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On the Mic with Mike. It is the premier business radio program in the area. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here with me. We can be heard on the Mike King Business Radio Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1 from 5 to 7, and The Choice, which is 103.5. That's gospel radio every day from 2 to 3. That's me and partners of mine out there telling the story. We talk to business owners. We talk to nonprofits. We give everyone an opportunity to tell their stories, and we do that with outstanding sponsors, people who believe in social enterprise business, who help support the business and the brand, and that way it allows us to tell the story. We are here at the lovely Boathouse. We'd like to thank our good friends at Hospitality for sponsoring us with the location, as well as I'd like to thank John Brandt and the Colonial Heights Chamber for working with us with the Tri-Cities Business Summit, and our sponsors. Tom Chaudhry is here with us, Chef Michelle Wilson, Mama Michelle's Cafe, Brody with Bank of Southside Virginia, Kim Ely is on the panel. We have our good friends, Uniquely Diverse, is down the end, Emmanuel Pizzoa. DB Arcade is shooting a video. Al Green is on the wheels of steel, the man on the sounds. We're going to start off with introductions this time. We're gonna lead off with letting folks know who they are, and we are here at the Boathouse, and this is the Tri-Cities Business Summit.
Thanks, Mike. I'm Morgan Ingram. I'm the Economic Development Director in Dinwiddie County. For those of you that don't know where Dinwiddie is, just south of the 85-95 split. It is still a fairly rural community, which has a big focus on agriculture, so I'd like to talk a little bit about that perspective as well today. We do have several logistics warehouse companies, manufacturers in the community, and happy to be here today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom Chaudhry, the credit card guy with Beyond, and in my role as a business advocate, I work with businesses to help them protect their revenue by saving money on credit card processing, and also we give back to the community. We create scholarships for children that through no fault of their own ended up in the foster care system. We partner with local universities to create full 4-year scholarships to help those children, because if you know anybody that's been through the foster care system, one of the things that happens when they turn 18 is the money and the love stops, and they have a better chance of going to jail than they do going to college, and we're trying to stop that one child at a time. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Stephanie Bryant, also or better known as Steph B. I run Bryant Strategic Solutions as well as Octane Sales Solutions. We allow micro businesses and small businesses to find a space to develop better revenue and strategic processes so that they are selling consistently and growing. We are identifying spaces for minority business owners to grow outside of the statistical analysis that they don't really make more than $100,000 annually, about 80% of them. And our mission is ultimately to make sure that people are doing better business and really prioritizing empathy within their sales and business practices.
Hello, I'm Tyler Craddock. I'm the Government Affairs Director for the Southside Virginia Association of Realtors. As an organization, we represent the real estate industry in the Tri-Cities area and a little bit beyond. Our members are comprised of real estate professionals engaged in residential, commercial, industrial transactions, property managers, all sorts of folks. Specifically, I concentrate on their government affairs and advocacy efforts. We work both on real estate, directly related real estate issues. So you'll hear us talking about things like property taxes, growth, development, zoning, those sorts of things. But on larger regional issues, for example, you have an interest, for example, in wading into things like broadband access and those things that just make this region a better place, because at the end of the day, that's what our members do, is we sell this region. So glad to be here and appreciate you having us.
Good morning, Mike. Always a pleasure. Jonathan Young. I have the privilege of representing more than 4,000 undergrads at Virginia State University. We characterize that institution just down the street from here as Virginia's Opportunity University. And after nearly a year and a half being away from my students, I can't begin to convey how excited we are to resume in-person instruction and do it bigger and better than ever. We prioritize what we characterize as premium interface with industry. And I remind my young professionals all the time, it's not just what you know, but it's who you know. So, Mike, thanks for the opportunity to participate in this conversation today. Jonathan Young, Virginia State University.
Well, my name is Charles Davis, and I'm the Chief Operations Officer for Anchor Inn, and we are a leadership and development firm. We basically dive into coaching and also go way beyond coaching and developing the future leaders of this generation and the next. We do that by really tailoring our design and our coaching and our leadership platforms to our clients and individually and collectively. So you can reach us or reach me at anchorin.co, and my number is 910-286-6084. Thank you.
Good morning. Mike, I'm so delighted to be here.
I know
Thank
you
you.
are.
You know I am.
We're ready to explode.
Yes.
But we have to hold it together.
Okay.
because some of the folks
We'll
around
hold it
know.
together. Okay.
So you know we're okay.
Excellent. I'm Kim Wells Ely with KWE Publishing, and I love taking writers from idea to published book. It is so exciting to put out amazing messages, to establish credibility for my amazing coach, consultant, and speaker clients. I also work with amazing children's book authors. I also proudly support the nonprofit in Richmond called Podium RVA. Podium is amazing. It helps kids from middle school and high school to develop their writing and speaking skills. I love it. Mike is a big supporter, so yay.
Podium is part of our other group.
Yes, with Synapse Networking. Absolutely love it. Oh my gosh, so amazing. Supporting nonprofits and bringing community together. Absolutely love it. So kwepub.com, and I'll pass it on to Kevin.
Hi, Mike.
Howdy.
My name is Kevin Healy, and I own Hospitality Family Restaurants.
Thank you for having us in your house.
We have 8 restaurants in the Richmond area. 4 are the Boathouse restaurants. We feature regional seafood cuisine. We have 3 Mexican restaurants called Casa del Barco, and if your high school Spanish is up to snuff, you know Casa del Barco is House of the Boat. Not very original, but you know, Boathouse, House of the Boat. And then we also have a third concept called Island Shrimp Co., and it has all the wonderful island foods and a theme that just puts you in a vacation state of mind. Altogether, Hospitality Family has about 450 great employees. We serve bunches of people, and our mission is to help our guests celebrate life one bite at a time.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mike, for having me. And it is a pleasure to be here today. My name is Helen Payne. I am an advocate for domestic violence and abuse, and I'm also a spiritual life coach. I am on a mission to educate and bring awareness to our community to help those that don't know what domestic violence is, or, bringing awareness to what the signs are. I go out and speak into the colleges, high schools, and also with my coaching business, I help women be able to rise above the ramifications of the experiences they had when they were going through the domestic violence. And I'm on a mission to prevent sexual and domestic violence. I provide services that to help those that are affected and create community awareness for support and resources. So if you want to know more about what I do, you can reach me at www.daughtersofdivinepower.com. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Rebecca Mann. I am Executive Director of Uniquely Diverse. We're a nonprofit organization in the area. Our mission, providing uniquely diverse opportunities to uniquely diverse individuals. And we do that through many things, workshops, trainings, you name it, a lot of experiences that we like to do to just capture the true uniqueness that everybody has. I'm a certified workforce development professional here in the state of Virginia. I'm very excited to share anything to individuals when it comes to retaining employment, recruiting employees, keeping your staff engaged is number one, and kind of piggyback off of Helen introducing herself, really taking a deep dive into what people may be lacking, those barriers to employment. Domestic violence is a big deal for a lot of people, and there are many other barriers that we should always try to highlight and make it known that people are suffering in different ways, but we're here to help them however we can. Yes, I am. Weekend Wednesdays, 2 p.m., 105.3, The Choice.
Shortage of talent or people willing to take, but you always talk about culture, and you set the culture here. Let's talk about setting culture in the organization, and a shout out to you and your team for, I guess, being really innovative. We talked about this 8 months ago, a year or so. I don't know. It was during the pandemic, and we talked about that, and we see you guys on the forefront. Shout out, I saw Emmy on TV yesterday talking about the innovative ways that you guys work. Let's talk about setting culture, innovation, and how do you keep the doors open in the middle of the pandemic when they say there's no workers out there?
Well, you know, setting culture starts at the top, doesn't it? I mean, and so I think it's very simple. You just treat people the way you'd like to be treated. And having been an employee for many, many years of several companies, I had my, experience. Some were good and some were bad, and I kind of logged what I wanted to do differently when I became an employer, which I knew I would at one point in my life. So I think the culture starts at the top, and you have to have buy-in, and it has to be real. It can't be fake. You know, people want authenticity. You know, who you are is really what they want. They don't want canned speech about what you'd like to be. It's like, what are you? And then, we did take a different approach during the pandemic. I felt that the pandemic gave restaurants specifically an opportunity to try different things because the standard was not going to work. And we were able to pivot to a touchless ordering system that allowed us to serve the same amount of guests with less staff. And that was very necessary, and it still is, because the staffing model has changed. I mean, there's 100 reasons why, and I was just telling Kim, I think all of them are valid. I mean, if it was one thing, everybody would do that one thing to solve the staffing problem. There's everybody has their own reason for either not coming back or, in the restaurant industry, choosing a different career. I mean, they might have been out of work at some restaurants for a great longer period of time, and they got a job in a different industry, and they're just not interested in coming back to the restaurant industry. So anyway, we have been able to pivot to this system. We do no longer require or expect tips. The guests are paying a 20% service charge, and we are able to redistribute that service charge in a way that our staff is making more money per hour than they were under the tipping model, and our kitchen staff, which has traditionally been underpaid, there has been for years an acceptance that the guy in the kitchen, the gal in the kitchen, is making less than the bartender or the server, and I no longer accept that. And so we're paying the people in the kitchen the same value that we expect. We pay the people out front, and it's working. It's not 100%, but in an environment where it's very, very difficult, we've hired over 300 people since March 1st, and we hired 400, but we've kept 300 and something. So we are almost back to full staffing, and we're happy that it's working.
Thank you. I didn't do it, I'm telling you. Okay, let's talk about what's going on in Dinwiddie.
Thanks, Mike. So in Dinwiddie, like I said earlier, we have 3 major warehouse distribution centers. I'd say with COVID, most of our major industries were not impacted that much because they were essential businesses and our manufacturers. We have a large steel plant as well that stayed open throughout. The hardest hit were the service industries, the restaurants, and then our tourism assets. Actually, Dinwiddie County has 2 of the largest tourism assets in the entire region. We have Virginia Motorsports Park, which is a large drag strip, and they also have a dirt track. They were completely shut down with COVID, and actually even this year lost the major Virginia National Hot Rod Association national event that brings spectators from all over the country and world, really, and impacts all the way up to Richmond with the service industries. We also have Pamplin Historical Park that's been impacted as well, especially with the schools being out. They rely a lot on field trips and so on and so forth. As far as those workers that they had to lay off, the warehouse distribution centers have continued to hire, and it was an issue even before COVID, and I think regionally, Virginia's Gateway region has stepped up working with the Community College Workforce Alliance to try to get people retrained with soft skills and things like that, and we're really hopeful that that will continue.
Tom Childry, we always ask, you talk to a bunch of people up there, what's the word on the street from a business owner standpoint? What are people saying?
Thank you, Mike. Right now, we're seeing a lot of businesses that are recognizing the challenge to attract employees, and they're subcontracting. So an employee, rather than come on as an employee and maybe be in a 25% tax bracket, can form their own corporation, be an independent contractor, and have those hours. They're outsourcing their skills to that business for usually more pay. And the alternative minimum tax, and I'm not an accountant, so you're accountant for exact numbers, is around 15% after you've written off all your other expenses that you can write off as a business that you cannot write off as an employee. So businesses are reaching out to prospective workers and offering them options to 1099 and pay them to their business as a subcontractor. So that's really helping businesses that were understaffed pick up quality, oftentimes licensed. The most recent one was an HVAC contractor who had been trying for a year to hire 2 HVAC mechanics. He was able to outsource to 3, and they're doing all the same work. And in the long run, with tax matching and benefits and everything, he's coming out ahead, and so are the employees or the workers. So it's really going well.
All right, Mr. John Young, let's talk about Virginia State on all the great things that you're doing. I remember John Young telling me that he doesn't even want his students to be first in line. First in line is okay, but the hookup, the knowing someone, let's talk about the value of that and what you're out there preaching. And look at, Rebecca's down there smiling. She's ready to explode when we're talking about Virginia State.
Orange and blue.
Mike, you said it really well. I never want my students, plural, to stand in line with everyone else for a job opportunity, because candidly, you're already at a loss if that's your approach. And often you'll inquire of somebody who is in job market of where they've solicited opportunities, and they'll share something akin to, well, I've sent my resume to X number of places, and then I'll inquire of them, okay, how many of those places have you sat down and had breakfast with somebody? or have you played a round of golf with? The point is that it's relationships. It's all about relationships. So at Virginia State University, we prioritize that relationship building opportunity, and we have a curriculum that accommodates that, along with our strategic initiatives. For example, I went to reference that we just invited 300 students from the region that reside within 25 miles of the campus to attend Virginia State University at no cost to them whatsoever, at least as it relates to tuition. So for us at Virginia State, look, it's been tough. A lot of the conversation this morning has pertained to COVID, and candidly, because at Virginia State we prioritize that intimacy, our faculty-student ratio, our open door policy accommodates what I describe to prospective students all the time as it's an opportunity to be a big fish in a little pond. And so if you're listening and you have a young person who's thinking about attending school somewhere, I'm not gonna sell you a bill of goods and tell you we have all of the same assets that perhaps, for example, Virginia Commonwealth University with 33,000 students do. But if you're looking to go somewhere where you can be a big fish in a little pond and be a rock star, all you have to do is show up. Then Virginia State University is that institution of higher learning for you and for your loved one. Thanks for asking, Mike.
Alrighty, Kim Ely, we always talk about you help make magic happen. You take ideas. People have books in their head. People have information. How do you take a dream and make it a reality?
Oh, absolutely. Great question, Mike. You have the dream, but then you also have to have the strategic plan to back it up. So what I do when I work with clients is we start off with identifying, what's your intention? What is your message? Who is your intended audience? What do you want the impact to be after someone has read your book? Do you want them to take action? How do you want it to impact their life? I think that's just as important as having the outline of the chapters that you identify. So what I like to do is work with clients, get super clear on here's the path, here's who you want to reach, and here's how we're going to get there.
All right. We talk about all types of industry. We have the real estate industry expert here, sir. You are the voice of reason. What's happening? We've had Nicole on before. We talked to Ray. From the association standpoint, let's talk about the importance of an association for an industry that people really don't know that much about. They buy a house and they know a little bit, but now information is out there. So the floor is yours to let us know all things about the real estate industry.
Well, first of all, I will say Nicole and Ray covered it quite well about the marketplace and what's going on there, and I think we all know about that. The importance of an association. It's important both internally and externally. To the realtor community, obviously it's important from a perspective of professional development, networking. We have a grievance resolution, so if two realtors have a dispute over something, internal process for dealing with that. Again, just a whole, and then advocacy services, which is what I do. If you're a realtor, I'm your voice in local government, and that's very important to a number of our members. Externally, though, for the community, which is the real sale, the larger community. First of all, we are a repository of information and expertise. So, like in my world, local governments will look to realtors. Okay, what's going on in the marketplace? How with regard to land use policies, comprehensive planning, all those sorts of things. How do we best construct policy? What have you seen from around the country that works here, that works there? What other resources from around the country can you leverage? So I think there's a larger suite of benefits that accrue not just to realtor members, which I obviously as a realtor staffer, I can say, yeah, if you sell real estate, you need to become a realtor. You need to join. You need to be one of us. Also, we have for realtors also that means being a member of the MLS as well. But for the community, I think there is that larger suite of benefits that are there. Also that sort of that. As government affairs, as advocacy professionals, life isn't all, it certainly isn't very much at all of standing at podiums and public hearings, frankly. By then, if that's the first time you're showing up for something, you've lost already. Like John said, you're just standing in line at that point. But it's building and forging relationships across the region and trying to make sure, trying to be that voice for regional cooperation, regional progress. It's benefits are both internal and external.
All right. Rebecca Mann, let's talk about diversity is your sweet spot, is your baby. Let's talk about diversity, what it means from a business standpoint, because it does have a dollars and cents value.
Yeah, diversity is way bigger than just the outside obvious race and gender. It's way past that. Your ideas, the creative part that you can bring to the table. When I do diversity trainings, I always share about being a kid in church back in Norfolk, 2nd Calvary Baptist. Hey, Pastor guys. Right down from Norfolk State University. But anyway, but growing up there, I would think about like how boring it was in a sense because everybody looked alike. We ate the same food, every revival, every this and that. And I was like, where's the differences? And then growing up and going to the Virginia State University, I learned a whole lot. And then life itself, but you start appreciating just the differences that people can bring. So when I talk about diversity, awareness, inclusion, it's all about just the inner part that people have that we often don't get to look at because we've judged them already when they walked up to us like, oh, you're tall, you might not be able to do this, or, you wear glasses, you can't do this. So we have to leave like the petty part and really take a deep dive into it. But in workforce development, it's so important. Diversity is so, so, so important. Languages, amazing. The foods, understanding people's culture and just a willingness to be aware. Why not? Why shouldn't we? It's so many different people in the world with different aspects of how to live and how we should treat others. I think it's cool to embrace it.
Thank you. So, Stephanie Bryant. We're here. Let's talk about the sales landscape for businesses, client acquisition going into 2022. A lot of businesses struggle. They were left standing. Some weren't still standing. Let's talk about what that means to an organization to find talent and attract, because talent can go anywhere these days. They have a lot of choices.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And talent should have a lot of choices. I think when talent has more choices, it makes corporations start to review where they stand and where they have stood historically. I think one of the interesting things I heard Mr. Healy say was talking about being an employee first and then understanding what it's like to become an employer. So, for years I worked as a professional salesperson and sold at a corporate level only. And I began Octane Sales Solutions really to allow people to outsource sales so that I could have a better experience and not just be a production model or part of a production model, to really enjoy what I was doing. And in that, I started to realize that we're moving into a space where there's an entirely different sales force coming up. They communicate differently. Gen Z and young millennials communicate differently. They behave differently. They engage differently. How they build rapport is done differently. And I think that there are a lot of organizations that are not prepared for that. So what we started to do was really look at how we can train up-and-coming sales reps that are having to engage at a corporate level and give them a space in which not only are they being producers, but they feel like they are important and valued within the spaces that they're in. A lot of times with corporations, what they see is, especially in the sales world, is they see productivity related to the finance of it all, revenue. And then they often miss the fact that you're dealing with a human, and this person may have a lot of other elements of their personality, and to speak to what Rebecca was saying, and diverse engagement that could really lead them into some interesting spaces. So we're looking at new young salespeople going into spaces that they're not typically represented in, whether it's spaces like wine and beer, whether it's spaces like technology, and utilizing that role. And then on the other side, what we're doing with Bryant Brand Management, Bryant Strategic Solutions, is really focusing on the new entrepreneurs and making sure that they're focused on being multifunctional founders, individuals that are having access to training, access to understanding of how to be a really solid entrepreneur, and salesmanship is a huge part of that.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Davis, we both spend time in, Uncle Sam's Army, and people now are getting more established on the way out the door. And everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but a lot of times you kind of got to use what you're learning at the big organization. And then you can take some of that, because sometimes big organizations can work. Let's talk about what you learned in the Army. You guys take that into leadership to start your own organization, and how you guys plan to change the world with that.
All right, so thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. So military, whatever branch of service that you're in, but of course I grew up 19 plus years in the Army. It's a unique organization, and sometimes we don't look at it that way, but it is really unique. Number one, you don't hire who you get to work, who you work with, right? So, but it's actually a blessing in disguise. And what I mean by that is that you have a chance to work with people from different cultural backgrounds. We're talking about diversity from different areas, rural, urban, city, and they all come together. And now you have to kind of build and work this team together to achieve the mission and the purpose of that organization. So growing up in the military, I started as enlisted and I went over into an officer. So I was on both the employee and, if you want to say, the employer kind of side of the management house. So how that translated is that really the culture of the organization, and you touched on this, is really set by those leaders in those positions of, let's just say, the authority, right? And culture actually matters. So in order to get all these parts together and work as a whole, culture matters. We really don't think about that, but when we step into a room, we either change the culture or we acquiesce to the culture. So the thing is that, okay, how do I get people to motivate them to build their leadership skills? And one of the biggest things in transitioning out is like, yes, we're equipped, but to translate that is, look, whatever organization that you're in, we recognize that in order to lead, number one, you have to be willing to get better every day. You have to be willing to actually say, I'm not the smartest person in the room, because I've been in leadership positions where I had to say, I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I'm surrounded by smart people, and understanding their weaknesses and their strengths and building that team around the age difference, around the gender difference, around that diversity, and pulling those strengths and those weaknesses in order to build a cohesive team, in order to pull together that organization and do good in the community and do good by one another. And I will close in saying this, is that one of the things that organizations that strive is because they learn together, they actually know one another, and they build authentic relationships within that organization. And that's what we bring to making our community better and being involved as leaders and building leaders to the next generation.
All right, thank you, sir. One of the funny parts about the military is you don't get to pick the team.
No.
Nah, you don't get the chance to pick the talent. No, you just show up and, hey, it's a new boss right here. And
That's it.
You have to engage them to get their respect. All righty, so one of the things on the way out, please give your name and your contact info, and really quickly an idea what you'd hope for 2022 and 2021 going forward. Rebecca, we'll start on the end with you.
Okay.
We got to be quick. I'm sorry. Now, see, she had a book there. We got to be quick because we got to be out of here.
But yes, we are. I'm Rebecca Manigan, Executive Director of Uniquely Diverse. You can find us online at uniquelydiverse.com. We have many exciting things coming up, a lot of specialized workshops, professional workforce and professional development. We have a women's retreat coming up in October. We have the V-Day conference, literally the V-Day for ladies. Follow me on that. February, that's coming up. We having a sneaker ball coming up October of next year. And our charitable efforts, Joe's Heroes is in November, honoring our veterans, and Willie's Angels. We're going to pick a family or families and sponsor them during the holidays. Also a master class coming up very soon, and a new workshop we've developed called How to Work a Room. So check out our website for more information.
Okay, again, I am Helen Payne, CEO and founder of Daughters of Divine Power Ministry, and I'm looking forward to 2021 into 22, bringing on workshops, letting people know the workshops will be a woman's worth. Also, I will be doing a campaign, which is a walk in the park campaign with blue ribbons, purple ribbons that represents domestic violence. Also, I will be doing a bride's march, which will be held on September the 26th, and that bride's march is in honor of a lady named Ricardo that was killed right before she was getting married on the day of her wedding. And in honor of that, we're doing a march for that. Also, I'm going into the different community, the schools, the churches, and workplaces to bring forth the resources of how you can contact other people that can help you with your situation. Again, Helen Payne, Daughters of Divine Power, www.daughtersofdivinepower. Thank you.
My name is Kevin Healy, and I'm with Hospitality Family Restaurants, The Boathouse, Casa del Barco, Island Shrimp Co. Come and let us help you celebrate life one bite at a time. Looking forward to celebrating some sunny days, and come to Island Shrimp Co. and Casa at Chesterfield Town Center on Friday, Saturday night. We have DJ and turn the place into an island vibe setting. Very, very cool. Saturday nights, Chesterfield Town Center, Island Shrimp Co. and Casa del Barco.
Fantastic. So ideas for 2021 and 2022. I love promoting people's ideas. I love being able to get their word out there. So I love being able to, gosh, I think books are like your business card on steroids. It introduces who you are. It gets people to connect with you. And we were talking up here about relationships and how important that is. You know, you can stand on a rooftop and shout your message, but a book is more effective than doing that. So I'm Kim Wells Ely, KWE Publishing. You can reach me at www.kwepub.com. I work with amazing children's book authors and also personal development book authors. And check out Synapse.
And Podium.
And Podium RVA. Holy moly, such good stuff. Thank you, Mike.
All right, so Charles Davis again, Chief Operations Officer for Anchor Inn. You can reach us at www.anchorin.co, and you can book a session with us, and then also what we thrive for this year and for future is really to anchor leadership so that they can really thrive again in their why, or know their why and thrive in their what, because leadership actually matters.
John Young.
Mike, 46 days from today, 4,000 talented young women and men will return to campus at Virginia State University, many of them for the first time in a year and a half, and we can't be more ecstatic. I'd encourage anyone listening to come visit with us, spend some time in the classroom, engage with our outstanding young persons. You can find us at vsu.edu. Jonathan Young, Virginia State University.
Also, the Richmond School Board. Okay, yeah. Just give a shout out to that real quick.
That's my moonlighting job, yes, sir.
Put it the young person on your side hustle. Tyler Craddock, Government Affairs Director, Southside Virginia Association of Realtors. From an advocacy perspective, frankly, it goes on forever for us. obviously we'll continue over this year and next year to engage with our partners in local government. But not only that, our members take a very active part in the electoral process. So we'll be active both in the state elections coming up and in places such as Prince George, where there are local elections. And of course, as a side note, would encourage everybody to engage in the electoral process. That's how you make your voice heard. But also coming up, we have, the General Assembly is coming up on August 1. They're going to come back and, figure out how to spend all of this wonderful American Rescue Plan money. And so we'll be following that. And then, of course, the regular session starting in early 2022. Real estate is a fairly highly regulated industry, and so we, as obviously, have skin in the game, and we follow those things closely. Again, Tyler Craddock, Southside Virginia Association of Realtors. You can find us at www.svarealtors.com. You can reach me at tcraddock@svarealtors.com. You can also find SVA Realtors on Facebook. And personally, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Snapchat.
You can find me, I'm Stephanie Bryant. You can find me at stephaniebryant.com. And there you'll meet Bryant Brands, which does include Bryant Strategic Solutions and Octane Sales Solutions. This year, our big focus is moving people from potential to profit, whether that's going to be new micro business owners that are entering the community and trying to identify their path to success. We're going to be doing workshops that include finding your yellow brick road. We have that coming up in August. We're also going to be launching our TREP Academy, which is for youth entrepreneurs. Our expectation is that we are going to see more and more young people that are interested in commandeering their ship and being the captain of their lives, and we want to see them do that successfully. So if you know someone out there that is looking to do that, or if you're a small business owner that is currently struggling with the profit of your business or the profitability of your business, please reach out to us at stephaniebryant.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Childry, the credit card guy with Beyond, and we're a payments company. And my focus is to help drive revenue to business owners' bottom line. We do that two ways. We help them reduce overhead, and we help them attract new high-paying customers. I can best be reached on my cell phone, area code 804-503-VISA, which is 804-503-8472. My email is tom.childry@getbeyond.com. And I'm Tom Childry, the credit card guy. Quick, easy collect. I'm going to make it easier than you expect.
I don't know which one I love more, the tagline or the cell phone number. It's just, I got to work on something like that. What's your number? It's a Visa, obviously.
Morgan Ingram, local county government. I don't think I can beat that, but a hope for this coming year is that we continue to collaborate and think outside of the box as a business community. I hope the small businesses will continue to reach out to the small business assets like their chambers, the Small Business Development Center here at Crater. I don't think anybody gave a plug for that today, but they have some great resources for businesses to help them with marketing, financing, things like that. And come access Dinwiddie, come eat some Richlands ice cream, come on out to Virginia Motorsports Park and Pamplin Park, and come visit the rural lifestyle of Dinwiddie.
All righty, thank you. So on the mic with Mike, we'd like to thank you guys for coming. We'd like to thank Mr. Healy and the family here at Hospitality for hosting us. Also for the program that we're here, John Brandt, the Colonial Heights Chamber, I'd like to thank him for partnering. Kim Wells-Ely, Tom Childry, the credit card guy, Chef Michelle Wilson, Mom Michelle's Cafe, for being sponsors of the of this event. I'd like to thank Tom Childry, the credit card guy. He's the sponsor of the program, as well as Michelle Wilson. They believe that business can help society be better. I'd like to thank them. Rebecca Mann, Wednesdays, weekend Wednesdays. All right, fine. All righty, weekend Wednesdays. All right, thank you, folks. Shout out. We got to give a shout out to Podium. Make sure you go check out Podium RVA. Kim Wells-Ely.
Absolutely. Podium RVA, amazing. so many cool events. We have go to their website, podiumrva.org.
That's right. Miss Vicky and the crew is out there doing amazing things. All right, we got to go. Thank you. On the mic with Mike, ESPN Richmond, 106.1. That's where you find us 5 to 7 a.m. We're out. Thanks. Bye.